everybody, it's Kim and it is time for our March wrap-up video. Hopefully everybody had an awesome March. Make sure you let us know what you have been reading down in the comments. Share us with all of your friends. And we are just going to go and get right down to it because I have quite a few books that I read in March. Pretty pleased with myself, if I do say so. Plus I've been going to the gym a lot. Woohoo! Wish I could show you how skinny I look in this dress, but there's no point in standing up because then you wouldn't be able to see much. So there you go. I've already used my body too much to try and promote this page. So if you remember the Hawaii video, okay. Wow, we just got off on a really weirdo rabbit trail. So let's get back into the books because that's why we're all here. What Kim read for the month of March 2018. Okay, so I finished the Unwind series by Neal Shusterman. I finished the last book and then I finished the book of short stories. Fantastic series, loved it so much, love Neal Shusterman so much. I don't care who you are, you should definitely read him because he's brilliant. We already talked about it last month, so I'm not going to get into it this month. So make sure you look for the Unwind series because it's amazing. Okay, then guess who read a nonfiction book this month? That would be Kim. I read Carolina Gold Rice, The Ebb and Flow History of a Low Country Cash Crop by Richard Schultz. Love this little book so much. I realize it's super little, but it was still fantastic. I'm a nerd, so things like rice production actually interest me. I also have a book on the history of the fork, okay? I know, that's just the way I am. So, I decided to read it. I got this in Charleston when I went right after we got back from Hawaii. Finished it in about an hour, hour and a half. I learned a lot of really cool stuff. The first half is about the history of rice, how it was introduced into the South Carolina colony, into Charleston society, etc., etc. And then the second half is Richard Schultz, who is an ophthalmologist in Charleston, how he ended up trying to grow his own crop of Carolina Gold rice and his successes and failures with that. And it was really, really good. The first half was actually incredibly professional. Unfortunately, with a lot of Southern histories, you get that like really judgy, preachy type. But not this. This is actually, it was very professional. It was very factual. There was very little speculation. It was simply, this is how things were. And it was, I really enjoyed it and I appreciated it. And then the second half where he talked about growing his own rice crop, there was a lot of practical knowledge that, okay, got a little boring, but it was still, I still enjoyed it. I still learned a lot. This is a very good book. If you're looking for a little history book to read, Carolina Gold Rice is a good one to pick up. Then I reread Prisoner B3087 by Alan Gratz. Amazing book, the first I ever read by him, and it is brilliant. This should be on every single high school shelf in America, in the world. This isn't even about American history. In the entire world, every single history student should be required to read this book, especially the high school, and you know, I'd say anywhere between 8th and 12th grade should be required to read this book. It's based on a true story. A kid who was actually sent to 10 different concentration camps with several death marches in between. There are some, I mean, there's a little bit of poetic license and creative license, but not a whole lot. Alan Gratz tries to keep the story as factual as possible. It gives such a good perspective on children and teenagers in the Holocaust, and that's a perspective we don't usually get. Love this book so much. Honestly, Alan Gratz is one of those people where I will buy whatever book he writes. There are several authors that I have who are like that. Neal Shusterman, Alan Gratz, Elizabeth Kostova, Mary Kay Andrews. Boom. Boom. I mean, because this book is fantastic. As a history teacher, love it so much. Should be required in every history classroom. Boom. Okay. Then we have the Blood and Salt series. Duology? I don't know. By Kim Leggett. I read Blood and Salt 2-ish years ago. Loved it so much. Then when I found out that Heart of Ash was coming out, picked it back up, reread it. It is about two twins. Oh gosh. Ash. It's even in the title. Oh my gosh. Ash and her brother and her twin brother Reese. Their mother is one of those hippy-dippy people. She grew up in this tiny cult in Kansas, and all of a sudden she disappears, so they go looking for her by driving to Kansas and finding this cult that is in a random cornfield. And it wouldn't be that interesting if it was just a regular cult. No, they got a bunch of really weirdo magical stuff going on. You've got Coronado, the Spanish conquistador, who comes in and plays a part, and it's really, really good. I loved it. I enjoyed it. So then I picked up Heart of Ash, which unfortunately disappointed me just a little bit. All the things that I loved about Blood and Salt, I loved the setting. It was just fantastic. I mean, for someone like me who thinks asylums and psychiatric hospitals are interesting, well, cults are like just a little bit removed from that. So I loved it. Almost the entire book took place in this little cult, and it was very condensed. The scale was very small. But then when you have Heart of Ash, it all of a sudden became this worldwide conspiracy, which unfortunately for me kind of undid the tension, and I just didn't like it. I mean, I guess the best way to describe it is you've got books that kind of appeal to different people. So in this series, you're going to find something you like. You just probably won't like all of it, if that makes any kind of a sense. I'm not saying Heart of Ash was bad. I actually really did like it. It was just a little anticlimactic for me. So I absolutely recommend the series. I just preferred Blood and Salt over Heart of Ash. But I still love you, Kim Liggett. You're amazing. You should come to North Carolina for a book signing, because believe me, I will travel. I will. There you go. All right. Then we have The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. Love this cover. Oh my gosh. There has been so much hype about this book. It's all over BookTube. It's all over Facebook, Instagram. It is everywhere. And I mean, with this kind of cover and with the description, who wouldn't love it? Okay, well, I'll tell you who wouldn't love it. Parents of younger kids probably wouldn't love it, because there is a lot of language, which is sad, but there is a lot. So definitely save this for older kids. Plus, it's very dark fantasy. Alice and her mother are constantly on the run, running away from bad luck. They can't stay in one place for too long. When they finally decide to settle down, they found out that Alice's grandmother had passed away, and for some reason her mother thinks that then it's safe enough for them to settle down. When all of this bad luck starts showing up, Alice's mother disappears, and she thinks it's connected to her grandmother, who died. But before she died, she had written this collection of dark fairy tales and lived in this mysterious house called the Hazelwood. So Alice ends up trekking all over creation to go and try and find out where Hazelwood is located, trying to figure out where her mother is, trying to figure out what the heck is going on with all of this bad luck and all of these really random people that start showing up. And it's a really good book. I enjoyed it. I'm very much looking forward to the next book coming out, which I don't think is going to be until next year. I'm not entirely sure on the date, so don't quote me. But it was a very good book. I liked it. The cover is gorgeous. I would just save it for older kids because of all the language. But dark fantasy, I mean, come on, somebody like me. I love some dark fantasy, and you'll get plenty dark in this book. All right, now, this one, now, don't hate me. Okay. I liked Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. I did. Okay. I enjoyed it. I liked reading it. I'm glad I read it. I would recommend it to people. But this book was also really, 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 really overhyped. And I think that hurt it some. Because, I mean, again, this book, it came out several years ago. It's all over everywhere. I mean, you have booktubers everywhere who are talking about how this is one of their favorite books. I mean, if you listen to them, this is one of the greatest books ever written. And so I went into it looking for the greatest book ever written, And unfortunately, I mean, I love this book. I enjoyed it very, very much. It's just not the greatest book ever written. So unfortunately, the overhype harmed poor Eleanor and Park. But for those of you who have never read it, it is about two teenagers named Eleanor and Park. Eleanor is a new girl at the school. She's a little chubby, got big red hair, wears super weirdo clothes. You've got Park, who is the Asian kid who still kind of fits in with everybody. They end up sitting next to each other on the bus, and this is the beginning of a roller coaster teenage romance. But what I liked about this book, because y'all know how much I love making fun of teenagers because they're idiots. That's just the way it is, okay? I taught high school for 3 years. I saw firsthand how stupid teenagers can be. But what I liked about this book is that Rowell kept it realistic. It's not, oh my gosh, we're going to stay in love forever and then we're going to go get married and oh my gosh, mushy gushy. No. It actually, we're talking about real problems that real teenagers face, and the realism kind of kept it from being that super annoying teenage romance, if that makes any kind of sense. So I actually really did like this book, but don't overhype it. Stop overhyping this book because it didn't help it. But that's okay. You're still going to love it. You're still going to really like reading it. Look, I was not a cool kid at all in high school. So Eleanor and I connected on a pretty good level. I got it. I understood it. I got her. But unfortunately, just with the overhype, it's not the best book I ever read, but it is by no means the worst. I really liked this book. So yes. Don't be mad at me, okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, okay? I've been saying a lot of really unpopular things. I'm DC over Marvel. You can blame Ivan for that one, okay? Because I was perfectly happy. Oh my gosh, and I can't even talk this video either. Okay. I was a perfectly happy Marvel fan poser until I met Ivan, and now I'm an actual DC fan. As I throw stuff off my desk. Okay, next book. We have Velvet Undercover by Terry Brown. This is a book that I actually saw on one of the Book Nerd Problems produced by Epic Reads. I've shared some of them on the page. They're really fun. I enjoyed them. I look forward to them every Monday because I'm a book nerd and it's just kind of my life. But this cover is absolutely gorgeous. Was really excited, but unfortunately this book fell a little flat. It is about a girl named Samantha. She is living in Britain in the middle of World War I. She's one of those gifted, really super intelligent girls back when intelligence was not the greatest asset for a girl. And so she ends up being recruited into a female spy ring that is based in France. And they send her in to Kaiser Wilhelm's palace in Berlin to try and help this undercover operative named Velvet, who's got some really important information on a weapon that the Germans are developing. I have to admit, I had inklings about the identity of Velvet, and I was very proud of myself when I was right. But unfortunately, this book stretched the suspension of disbelief a little too thin. First part of the book talks all about how Samantha is a super smart girl. She's super intelligent. She can break codes like nobody's business. She's going to be fine. Then she actually gets into Germany, and then all of a sudden it's, oh, this wasn't such a hot idea. She's too emotional. She's never going to be able to handle this. Oh my gosh, why did we do this? After she's only had about a month's worth of training. And it just got, the whole time I kept asking, why the heck is she even there? Really, of all the people, you picked this random 17-year-old girl with no training whatsoever. And then when you get to the end, it kind of sort of fixes it, but still, I mean, I enjoyed reading it. I'm glad I read it. Will I ever read it again? No. I just wish, I mean, with such suspension of disbelief, I really wish they had turned it into like fantasy historical fiction instead of just regular historical fiction, because adding a couple of ghosts in there probably would not have made it any more unbelievable. But the cover is gorgeous and I enjoyed reading it. So there's Velvet Undercover. Then we have A Taste for Monsters by Matthew J. Kirby. Found this randomly at Books A Million, read the description, it sounded really interesting, so I picked it up, and the cover is really nice. I do like this cover. I think it's very pretty, you know, in a creepy kind of way. This is about a girl named Evelyn who ended up losing part of her jaw because she was working in a factory that dealt with a lot of phosphorus, so she got phossy jaw and they had to amputate a part of her jaw. So she is now deformed. She goes to the London hospital to try and get a job as a nurse. They told her, no, we can't. We have to have nurses that actually give comfort just by looking at someone, and you can't do that, so no. But one of our patients here is Joseph Merrick, the Elephant Man. You're deformed, he's deformed. Perfect, you could be his maid. And that premise all alone makes it worth it anyway. I mean, I found that fascinating. It's in a hospital. You've got Joseph Merrick, the Elephant Man. Who could complain about that? It's fantastic. Then you throw in the fact that Jack the Ripper is killing during this time. His victims, their spirits end up coming to Evelyn and Joseph, and they have to try and figure out how to help these spirits move on. And there were some parts that were a little slow, but overall I really liked this book. It was really interesting. I enjoyed reading it. It apparently has won a lot of juvenile awards, which I would not call this book this good for juvenile. Definitely a YA book. There you go. I mean, it was really good. I really liked it, but not for kids. I mean, it's too creepy for kids. And I love creepy, so, you know, I know about creepy, and that book is a little creepy for kids. Then we have Illuminae, part of the Illuminae Files trilogy. This book I really did enjoy. I mean, it's super pretty. I mean, that's by itself, because not only do you have this like really cool transparent book jacket, but then underneath you've got all of this cool, I mean, that's pretty fantastic. Plus, you've got it written in the different formats. I mean, this whole thing is documentation, and, you know, it's just all really, really cool stuff. I really enjoyed this format, believe it or not. The actual story I found fascinating. I mean, I hadn't read anything like it. Basically, this company comes to attack. They send their little private army to attack an illegal mining colony. Some of the survivors are rescued by government military vehicles and spaceships. So they evacuate onto these ships. They're trying to get to the nearest space station so that they can then take a wormhole to the nearest civilization. But they've got one of the company's spaceships following them. And then you've got major conspiracies going on. You've got an artificial intelligence that pops up that then causes some big major complications. And it just this big, huge sci-fi epic fantasy, and it's actually really good. I mean, I'm a Trekkie, so this kind of thing kind of falls into the Star Trek Battlestar Galactica area, and I really liked it. I have the other two books of the trilogy. I just haven't read them yet. I will get to them, just not yet, but I really liked this book, really enjoyed it. The formatting is really cool, so I would highly suggest. This is also another really good one for teens. I mean, most of these are YA, so they're technically good for teens, but this one I actually think a lot of teens would like. There is language. But, oh yeah, the language is all blacked out in this. I forgot. Oh, so this could be for like even slightly younger teens because there aren't actually any swear words in it because they're all blacked out. Score. I'm so proud of myself for remembering little details like that. Okay. Next we have The Dead House by Dawn Kurtagich. Love this cover too. Oh my gosh. Love Dawn Kurtagich. Okay, she is fantastic. She follows me on Instagram. I'm so cool. Oh my gosh. Anyways, she writes creepier horror type books. She also wrote And the Trees Crept In, which I read last year. I do plan on rereading it this year because I don't think we have a review on it. And she also has another book coming out, I think at the end of this year, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, she's super cool. Love her to death. And this book, first one I ever read, and I read this 2-ish years ago, back on that creepy, when I was on that creepy phase. I mean, you can't see this cover and not think creepy. So, yeah, I'm really glad I got it because it was even better the second time. It's got a little bit of paranormal, but it's mostly psychological. It's really good. There are two sisters who live in the same body. One comes out during the day, the other comes out during the night. Then all of a sudden the personality who comes out during the day disappears. And so the other personality is trying to figure out what happened to her. There's a friend who suggests that she was taken by a demon, but you've got this psychiatrist who's saying, no, that just means that you're the actual personality and you're finally, coping with the tragedy that you then, that your other personality was coping with. So now you've coped with it and you're back. And it's just this whole big thing trying to figure out what is real, what isn't, what happened, what didn't, etc., etc. And it's all written in super cool format. It's all journal entries and videos and police reports and doctor's notes and just a lot of really cool stuff. And I really liked it. This is a really good book. Definitely a good one to give to an older teenager who likes the scary type stuff. This is a good one to give because it's creepy and I really liked it. So then I had 3 audiobooks, The Dispatcher, Ready Player One, and Code Girls. Really enjoyed all of them. The Dispatcher was a nice short story, but it was still interesting. Zachary Quinto was the narrator, which I'm not a huge fan of his, but actually he totally has a voice for narration. Loved it. Ready Player One was Will Wheaton. He was so perfect for that. Loved that book so much. And then Code Girls, I probably should know the narrator, but I don't. And totally thought my cat was coming in here. So I feel kind of bad for not knowing the narrator, but Code Girls was still really, really good. So that's what I read for the month of March. Let's do least favorite and most favorite. Least favorite, as much as I hate to say it, least favorite was Velvet Undercover. It was just lackluster, and if it wasn't historical fiction, it probably would have been better, but because it was historical fiction, somebody has to be last place, and unfortunately, Velvet Undercover is last place for this month. Most favorite, first time in a while, ever since I started doing these videos, Ready Player One. The audiobook was my favorite of the month. So we're going to use Percival and Artemis to represent, here, there you go, to represent the audiobook of Ready Player One. That was Kim's favorite. Oh no, Percival! There you go. Okay, there you go. Yes, and I did post my reaction to the Ready Player One movie. It was beautiful. Okay? I mean, once you actually see it, that movie is meant to be seen. It's gorgeous. I just didn't really like where Spielberg took it other than the visuals. But you can watch that video and tell me what you think about that. So, there's the month of March. Got a lot of really good reading in. Make sure you let us know what you've been reading down in the comments. Give us all of your opinions. And then looking forward to April. Now, I will have to go ahead and say this. Unfortunately, I don't foresee being able to read tons in April because Ivan's taking me to Italy for my 30th birthday. What? Yes, we leave on April 10th and we don't get back until April 25th. And yes, I'll have a long plane ride there and back to read, but I have this feeling that once I get to Italy, I'll be too busy eating. So if I also come back like 30 pounds heavier, just prepare for it because there are a lot of carbs and pasta, but we'll also be walking around a lot. We're doing Rome, Florence, and Venice, and I'm super excited. If you guys have been to Italy and you have a place that you think we shouldn't miss, comment with that too, because I mean, I got guidebooks and I already now have a whole running list of places that I want to see. We already have tickets to the Vatican. So yes, I probably won't get much reading done while we're in Italy. So yes, there we go. Plus we have my birthday and Jessica's birthday. I think we have a couple of y'all who have birthdays. Make sure you let us know, and then we should just have a great big virtual party. We should have an online party for everybody's birthday in April. Because we April babies are just fantastic. And then you can get the kind of cake you want and then you can eat it. And when someone says to you, wow, you're eating a lot of cake. Yeah, because it's the Jessica's Reading Room online birthday party. Duh. And then go buy yourself a new book. I mean, not like you need an excuse, but hey, I'm buying a book because it's Jessica's birthday. Yay, Jessica. I mean, come on. Yes, we love birthdays. So there you go. There's the March wrap up. Some plans for April. I will make sure that I post lots of pictures, hopefully get some videos while I'm in Italy. Have to figure out how the Wi-Fi and the cell phone coverage works over there. Figure it out later. But yes, we'll make sure that I keep you updated with lots of pictures and lots of cool stuff. And hopefully everybody has an awesome April. Share us with everybody. And have a great, is it even the weekends? What day is it? I don't know. Have a great month. Hopefully March was awesome for you. So have an even better April.